right, welcome to the DEFRAG for Mothership episode 13, which is in the books officially. We haven't done a DEFRAG in a while, and some exciting stuff has happened in recent episodes, so let's talk about it.
Oh my God. I think the thing we really need to talk about is that Mike and I both want to kill the other two characters. I think that
is what? For no reason. You have no reason to do so.
You just caused me a lot of money, man. That's a lot of time in a med pod. Maybe some
Mike
like upgrade armor.
Mike knows that. Ted knows that. I think your guys don't know that.
I think it's fair to say that that's true. We don't know, that it was a 900,000 credit or 1 million credit painting. We don't know that. But I think
it's garbage.
We are totally picking up that Thulsa has getting squirrely. And when a member of the team is acting squirrely, it makes the Marines nervous. And nervous Marines like to shoot things.
That's right.
I think it really is sort of like, and it's an interesting thing because on one hand, I as a player want to play my character, right? I also want you to play your character. I want you to take the cues you're given and go with that. On the other hand, like, I don't want you to destroy the things that are valuable, and then I have to. No, I just think I feel very torn. Really, is what it is. I feel like really pulled.
Yeah, you guys have been doing great about actually leaning into that and sort of playing against what you as a player would normally think would be the optimal mode, the optimal choice.
Yeah,
which is fun.
Super cheesy.
Yeah, and it gets it makes a good story even if it doesn't get you the optimal result in the campaign. So I'm all for it.
And you destroying artifacts.
The painting, but and that's the thing too. Like at a meta level, there gets to be that point where we're friendly to playing at the meta level and understanding stuff and so forth. But there also gets to the point where it's like so cheesy. Like if that's really what's going on with her, like she has this incredible desire to destroy things, and she sees this thing that is gross and offensive to her at an aesthetic level because it's ugly as hell, and she sees this and it's so easy to destroy. Like it's the target of everything. Like if you are itching to destroy something and you go to the bullseye, like that's the thing to destroy. Even though me as a player, my intention was to go out there and just like mess up the arms, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what I was going out there. But the way that, this thing came into view and it was very obvious.
You played it true to form.
This was the thing.
There was,
I agree.
There was what I made you make that sanity save for before you destroyed it was if you had succeeded at it, I would have had you assess the value. Like you would have been able to like get like an actual like hard value at it, and then you could have made like an informed choice about like just taking the Ben's raise versus destroying it. But that didn't pan out, so it was like it basically because you failed the sanity save. I was like, you must destroy this now because that was your intended thing.
Yeah,
I mean, there's something interesting.
Right.
There's something interesting. Just to take a small thing to that, right? Like impulse control or lack thereof, and the myopia of it makes perfect sense. That like as a focal point, nothing is drawing its attention more, right? To your point. So you would seek it out. Even if you had succeeded, though, at that appraisal, if the impulse you're trying to fulfill is like a subversion, then the more valuable you deduce that thing would be, the more you'd want to destroy it. If subversion and impulse like losses is the thing. So I think either way, you're playing to the character's desires authentically, right?
Yeah. What surprised me, though, is when John first described the symptoms of your affliction and your need to break and destroy. I was visualizing Thulsa, like picking up a hammer and going on a rampage, like smashing something. Honestly, it's way creepier that you just went up and you're like, I know I don't like it, and this is going to get me out of this universe. Cut. And like for us watching that, it's just sort of like, what the fuck is wrong with that guy?
Yeah, really.
If he'd gone smashy, we'd been like, oh man, he's lost it. Let's tackle him, right? Yeah. And now we're just like, and this is where I get to like where the Marines are like, oh, I don't know about this guy. You're like, you're giving us bad vibes. You've got bad vibes, man. You're like, you're weird. You cut things. You're like,
like it's sneaky sabotage, right? So and And we don't know if the depth of your insanity is going to lead to not just our loss of money, but like you start messing around with the airlock control while we are like still putting on our vac suits. Like you picture that in like an alien movie, like the person's going quietly crazy and just starts like, everyone's going to go out into space now. You know, like, of course the reaction would be like, shoot you.
I mean, yeah. And there is an option to take that route, but you know, she's still, her desire is to destroy things, not to harm people.
Sure.
Right. Like that's,
it seems like it was a temporary insanity, right? Like, John, you tell me, but it seems like the way it played out, you were suddenly like, it's over.
I was able to kind of work through it. Yeah.
That one in particular, like, had its moment. But like, it was like a passing thing. The memory lapses are still continuing. The empathy thing is still happening, and all that kind of good stuff.
Did anyone else?
What?
Yeah. Did anyone else have Prince start playing in their head when Matt started defacing art?
From Batman.
The reference.
Yeah.
What's
that? Batman.
Yeah, we all did.
Yeah, baby. Yeah. Batman.
That's a great song. Great song. Great scene.
Good. Great song.
Say, like, I'm just gonna say, like, as far as like the game and the setting goes, I do feel like maybe one thing that is like hard for me is like to wrap my head around the science part of it. Like, I'm worried that sometimes our conversations get too granular on how something would actually work. And I don't know if that is something that we can just kind of like, you know, like
we're getting better at it. Like, I think we're getting better at it, you know. It's a combination of like me not being versed in a lot of that stuff. And then I do think it's the expectations of the game itself. Don't want you to get into the nitty gritty. I mean, they're pretty specific about that in the Warden's Operation Manual. Like, don't they have a whole page about like, don't worry about all the tech shit. Like, you'll be fine.
Right.
Which which is mostly aimed towards me. Like, I have to be like more cool with that. But it also, I have to like then tell you guys like, don't give it too much thought. I mean, there's a certain amount that you have to deal with in order to sort of like reference yourself within the world and all that kind of stuff to make plans. But we're not playing a hard sci-fi game. We're playing a sci-fi horror game, which is trying to emulate certain genre things, and that's a whole different sort of ball game, you know. But I think we're getting better.
Down my oxygen tank, then, Mike.
well, like, for instance, but that feels like horror. So I just watched Alien again, just out of nowhere. They make almost no reference to any science whatsoever at all in that entire movie. Mm-hmm. There is no question about air. There is no question about like, why am I in a room with chains and water dripping? None of that. Like, there's no, they just all take it for granted and they just keep going. Right. Like the only science was like the little motion detector thing that molecules move, you know, like, so I'm just like, you know, like out of that genre, like out of that venue, and I'm just as guilty of this, like to your point, David, about the air tanks. Like, you know, I'm just wondering if it's like one of those things where it's like, well, let's just not worry about it and just go.
Well, well, here's what I would say to that, because it's specific to the example. I think there is a level of scientific sci-fi that gets really treacherous. I think the most effective way that you can approach sci-fi in scenarios like that is to think of it via analogy and fantasy logic. An oxygen tank is a flask of oil. Fire plus flask of oil equals explode. Yeah. The minute you get more granular than that, it needs to be for a good reason. But I don't think the response, and I'm not actually upset, but the response shouldn't be flasks of oil plus fire is too much science for the setting, because what that creates is a negation of doing things other than running and gunning. So we still have to be, and that's what Mothership wants, by the way. It wants ad hoc. It wants you to have that A plus B equals C. And what it's telling the warden to do is be permissive of it within a reasonable bound. Now, I think arguing that wasn't possible is fine, but I don't think the lesson from that is don't try those things.
Oh, sure.
No. And I think that's even confused some of the viewers a little bit who haven't played, right?
Well, it's not. What I ended up ruling was just like we were getting too much into the science fiction talk, so I wanted a pick between Matt's solution for the ambush or 100%. David's solution. We went with Matt's, but I would have been totally fine with doing the oxygen thing, but I would have done it more like what David just described. It'd be like, forget about all the science. You're just making a bomb out of an oxygen tank. Let's roll for it. And depending on how you roll, that's how well it was set up. That's what it ended.
Two things that came to mind. Number one, John, you gave early on, you gave this great advice, which I think we need to take to heart whenever we start getting into the details. And I think we came around to it again. Just describe what we want to do. Like, what's the goal in doing this?
What's the goal?
We want to set a trap that's going to hurt them if they try to get in. Right. And then it's just, and then for me, in this case, it was like, do we want to expend a resource in doing it or not? Right. Like with the wires that were there, I was thinking that's why I like that one, is because if we can use the electricity that's there, we don't have to expend resources. Like, because in the back of my head, I was thinking, we don't know how long it's going to take to walk to the place that we're going. And that oxygen tank, I think, Mike, you brought this up, that oxygen tank may be the thing that lets us get the rest of the way. Right.
But therein lies, right? Like, again, I'm genuinely, this is a classic detox. We're talking about our feelings. Genuinely not upset. I'm glad that John made the ruling he did. I'm glad he simplified the conversation, etc. But in the conversation of our dialogue, right? I led with, I'm using fantasy logic, not science. A plus B equals C. Then everyone else started arbitrating more scientific versions of that, which led Matt to another equally, if not more scientific idea. Right. That in the conversation is what prolonged it. That's not Matt specific. I mean, like, us debating the science is what prolonged it to iteration. That iteration was really awesome. I'm glad we did it. Hence, John made the right ruling. But that's what I'm saying when I'm like, being able to trust our instincts and be like, yeah, that kind of feels good, is what Mothership's encouraging for all of us, right? Sure. And our impulse to be like, let's refine is to Mike's point, like, hard for us to resist. No criticism of anyone, right? Great things came out of it.
We're just used to it,
right? Yeah.
And like I said, go ahead, Did.
I think it turned out really well. I'm happy with the arbitration, and I think that the general rule of thumb of, like, don't get too far into the weeds is a good one. I do, however, feel that hard science is fucking scary when you're in space, right? Like, the idea that one Mike would, like, I was genuinely terrified when Mike was like, I unhooked my mag boots and I unhooked the rope and I'm just crawling on the surface of this.
Yeah.
One mistake, you're gone. We are not getting you. You're
That's
dead.
why I was really asking. I was like, is that really what you're doing?
Incredible. Incredible.
Yeah.
But I'm also the only character with 0G training. So, like, I'm also kind of like weighing on that, right? And here's the thing. Like, I'm just gonna say, like, I was treating that scenario as a fantasy like scenario, right? And I'm just like, there is no way in any other game that we've ever played would we try and have some sort of ambush of like 10 heavily armed and armored like opponents. And so I was like, I'm going to be running away. Like, I was planning on running away like immediately. I was expecting the whole thing to go pear-shaped and it didn't. So congratulations. But I was I will be the last man standing here and you guys will be blown off into space,
Totally hear you, Mike. I will, and I know we want to keep this one brief, but I will contradict that. All of our best Arden Vool successes were some version of what we just tried to do through the synthesis of sci-fi. It's only because the genre changed, and this is what I was emphasizing before. It's not that we want to terminate those conversations. It's that because we're less comfortable, we over-explain or we terminate before a sufficient explanation or the desire to find one. There's a medium ground there, right? But dropping a rock on a lizard is this moment. We're granted with tools, but mag boots, right? Mag boots are my flying boots. Yeah, it's the same thing, right? Like, all of this is, how do the items we have subvert the power that we have? Ted, welding, right? That's pure OSR. It doesn't matter what the genre is. It's still fantasy logic. We just have to trust ourselves long enough and rather than go, well, but, you know what I mean? Within reason. Again, John is the arbiter of that, and it is important for us to like workshop it a little bit. But yeah, it's fascinating, right?
In my mind's eye, the whole scene was very on point and on genre, and I thought reflected a horror movie pretty well too, because even though it was like a classic OSR scenario with the way that you planned it, and you were scared the entire time. You knew that the odds were against you. You were like, oh fuck, it actually is going to happen. And your instincts was to hide and watch and be careful. And then when you attempted to actually be like, let's try to turn the tables on these guys, you fucked it up, right? But then it ended up turning out okay in the end. But David might be in a bad spot now too, because he's just coasting off. It's
an incredible story, though.
Yeah, I thought it like really fit like the genre specifically. And it's when I'm coming to realize too is even though the system and the expectations are a lot different in Mothership than D&D, the version of D&D that we were playing in Ardenvool is I mean, like old school D&D it's a horror game. It's survival horror.
It is. Yeah.
You know, and this is just a more on the nose horror game. Like it's like the mechanics are built for horror, you know. But my point is, and we do have to. Sorry, I'm getting the last word in here, but we do have to stop. But is that I think that we should pat ourselves on the back a little bit because I think we're getting much better at this than we were at the beginning of the campaign.
100%.
You know, we hit like a brief snag where we kind of dived into the scientific stuff a little bit too much, but I think that we're getting a lot better at understanding that we should just be looking at like what are we attempting to achieve, look at it as like fantasy analogies and moving on from that. So I don't think we should like beat ourselves up too much. I think we're very conscious of it now than when we weren't before. And then we're quick to self-correct, which I think is good because we're learning.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And I think Matt was kind of an MVP of that mentality, right, throughout the episode. I think we all had our moments, right? But it's for sure. None of this is criticism. It's us just doing a detox and thinking, like refining and thinking about it, right? I think this is one of our best episodes yet. I mean, truly. Yeah. So, hell yeah.
It was good.
Well, I bring it up, and I'm sorry, I'm going to say, I bring it up because I'm far more cognizant of it and for myself, right? Like, I was very much, I felt very paralyzed for a lot of this like session just because I was like, I don't actually know what my character would do in these situations, right? Like, I mean, you guys were all like gung ho, hey, let's take on the shuttle ship. And I'm just like, no way. So that was on me.
I thought you played it just fine.
Thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a Marine. You know the lethality of it. You're like, this is fucking stupid, y'all. I know better than any of you. Again, I'm sorry that you felt insecure about it, but I thought it was the verisimilitude was perfect, and I think John agrees too.
There's always one Marine who's like, you guys are nuts," and there's another Marine going, "Yeah,
game over, man, game over."
And we have to look at like how badly things could have gone. There was so much riding on dice rolls this whole time. Like what it was a 50-50 if the ship went into the deep versus go out of space. You know, like you ended like
and we all die.
Like Ted's welding job was a critical fail. Like it could have gone totally pear-shaped in in a way that did not benefit anybody at all. Yeah. You know, but it ended up being okay. So I would not self-reflect too much on like how you played that, Mike. I thought you played it just exactly perfectly. Like your caution was very, very well warranted.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah. Anyways, we need to hit the hay. So let's wrap this up.
Are we not going to read Conquerors again?
No, we're not going to.
It's another 15 minutes.
It's another 15 minutes. Yeah. Exactly.
Oh man.
All right. See you later.
You know who you are. We read your names. There you go.
Adios.
Bye, everybody.